Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Hi, this is Daniela with Bestie Life, the podcast, and today I'm excited for you to meet Angela Frank. She is a fractional CMO with a decade-long track record of generating multimillion-dollar marketing revenue for her clients. She is the founder of the Growth Directive, which is a marketing consultancy helping brand create sustainable marketing programs. Her new book, Your Marketing Ecosystem: How Brands Can Market Less and Sell More, helps business owners, founders, and corporate leaders create straightforward and profitable marketing strategies. She's also the host of the Growth Pod podcast, where she shares tons of actionable tips to help you build a profitable brand you love. So, Angela, thank you so much for joining us today.
Daniela, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited for our conversation today.
So I know that kind of gave an overview of what you're doing now, but can you share a little bit more about your background and your journey in this field?
Yeah, absolutely. I got my start being an entrepreneur actually when my husband joined the military. He had a very atypical enlistment, and we ended up living in 10 different cities over the course of 4 years. And that was
Holy
spread
cow.
across 4 states. Yeah.
Did you even unpack, or did you just stay in boxes?
You know, we would, because it was always that we were going to be there for a little while, and then something would happen and he would either be relocated, or, you know, some other thing came up where we would need to relocate to different cities. So it was very turbulent.
Yeah.
And I had just left college. I didn't finish my degree at that point because we were moving so much, and I needed to figure out what I was going to do. And so I actually started my own e-commerce business at the time. And that was where I started growing my marketing chops. I went to school for psychology. And so it was really great to understand how we can take this understanding of the human psyche and apply it to marketing and encourage people to take an action that you want them to take. Once he got out of the military, I started thinking, you know, do I really want to be running my own e-commerce business? And so that's when I got into corporate life. I got a job as a marketing director, and I helped a few different companies grow in that way. But I really realized that where I had the most impact was not only running my own business, because that was fulfilling for me personally, but by working with clients to solve their biggest marketing problems. And so that's what I do today.
Awesome. So when it comes to marketing, what are some of the either trends you're seeing or mistakes that you kind of see people falling into, some of those little pitfalls?
Yeah, one of the biggest mistakes that I see is doing too much. And it comes from a good place. You look at a business in your niche. So maybe it's a direct competitor or an aspirational type of company for you, and you see everything that they're doing for their marketing. And so you're thinking, okay, I need to have email. I need to have this huge sequence. I need to be running paid ads. I need to be putting out blog posts. And it becomes so overwhelming. And you're putting your energy into so many different places that it ends up not being that performant for you, right? You're spread too thin. And so what I do for my clients is set up a marketing ecosystem where we scale everything back to its most basic form and connect everything together for them. Yeah. And so that is really where you're able to focus your effort and create outsized returns and performance for your business.
So with your book, you know, how brands can market less and sell more as part of your marketing ecosystem, what are some of those strategies? Because I know that even for me, you know, you talk about doing less, and definitely that's a mindset piece for me when it comes to that fear of, but if I'm not showing up, people are going to forget about me. The algorithm's not going to show my stuff when I do show up, or, you know, there's so many different thoughts behind not wanting to scale back, how do you start doing that? How can you help somebody overcome those same fears?
I think the most important thing, because this is something that I struggled with as well, the most important thing to remember is that quality is more important than quantity. And also, your time investment is not created equal when you're investing it in different marketing channels. For you, Daniela, maybe you find that your email list is really working for you. And so that means that it's worth your time. Whereas maybe something like, I don't know what a good example, maybe like posting on Facebook isn't good. And so you want to show up and be relevant because it's important for your business to be there, but you don't need to be showing up every day. You just want to be keeping that channel kind of fresh, right? And maybe just 1 or 2 posts a month is fine for Facebook. And so by finding the areas in your business where you're actually creating impact in your marketing and putting your energy, your effort, your budget there, you create a marketing program that produces more sales and costs you less. And a lot of that cost comes from not only your time, but the investment that it takes to set all of these channels up and keep them running.
Do you think funnels then kind of are really helpful? Or are there certain types of content then that you think is going to produce a higher quality than if you are putting less out there?
Yeah, it depends on your niche. But for me, funnels are really important, and you just need to find where you're going to attract people into your funnel. So for me, LinkedIn and my podcast work really well, getting people onto my email list. And then my email list is what I use then to nurture that relationship and let people know when I'm available to take on more clients to create the actual sale portion of my funnel. And so for other people, maybe Instagram's a really great channel. And so again, it just goes back to finding that channel that's performing well for you and setting up the systems and processes to make sure that you're bringing people all the way through.
Looking ahead, are there things you think people need to be kind of planning for in the future, whether it's a shift in the way marketing is happening? I know just even the last couple of years that I've been in this space with building a business, it's definitely changed even from static posts. Then Reels came out and that just blew up the whole need to, be on video and doing those types of things. What do you see as kind of the next thing?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm keeping a close eye on is how Google and other search engines are implementing AI into the search results. I don't know if you've seen, Daniela, when you go into Google now, sometimes there's that AI search overview that gives you all of the information you would need without even needing to click onto a website. And while that creates a really great user experience, it creates this moment of, for my business, I was getting great organic traffic, for example. Now, Google's showing all of the information in AI. I think where Google is going, and probably Bing and other search engines as well, is that you will need to pay for that traffic that you used to get organically. And so to combat this, I'm encouraging clients and people that I speak with in real life, and I'm educating people on my podcast, that now is the time to be investing in social media and creating content on your website that you can use to get people through into your funnels from different channels other than organic search.
Okay. Definitely AI was kind of something I was going to ask you about as well, because I know it seems like it's changed the playing field a little bit, not only from how people are searching, but how they're creating content as well. I know I love using AI just to even give me a framework when I'm stuck or help me with a hard email that I'm procrastinating writing or things like that.
Yes, and I definitely love AI for those applications. If you need, certain little bits of copy here and there, where I caution people against is using it to create like full social captions, full blog posts, things like that. AI can't really understand your target customer and speak to them appropriately. But just like you're using it, Daniela, it's perfect for brainstorming and little things that you need here and there, or for getting those juices flowing.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite that you prefer? Like I know there's ChatGPT, there's paid, there's unpaid, there's Gemini, there's, like all sorts of stuff. Is there really a difference between all these different AI platforms?
There can be. I personally use ChatGPT, and if I'm doing a big project or I'm heavily reliant on it, I do pay for ChatGPT 4, but when I'm done with that project, I'll then go ahead and cancel it.
Okay.
But there's also Claude, which is supposed to be trained in a more conversational tone. I'm still learning a lot more about that. And I do think that for certain applications, different AI language models are better. And so it really just depends on what you're doing. For podcasters, for example, Descript has a lot of AI tools built in that help you transcribe your show notes and things like that. And so it really depends on what you're doing and what you're trying to have AI help you with.
Okay, I'm just writing those down because I hadn't heard of Claude before. So I definitely want to check that one out, as well as having a podcast. While I do currently use Pod Squeeze, I'm always
Okay.
just open to seeing what else is out there. So Descript is another one I'll definitely have to check out. So thank you
Yeah,
for those.
of course.
So personally, not only with your own business, but for yourself, what do you do to kind of nurture and take care of you and your business? Because obviously the whole point of doing less is to prevent that burnout, to get out of that hustle culture, and to leave more time and space for you. So how are you using that?
Yeah, I love that you were bringing the importance of taking care of yourself and avoiding hustle culture. I really do not think that you need to subscribe to this. Like, I'm going to get up at like 3 a.m. and work all day, and then I'm going to go to bed at like midnight. I don't believe that. And so creating boundaries is really important for me. And taking care of myself, I know then benefits my business because I'm able to think clearly and show up as the best version of myself for my clients and my team. And so the way that I set boundaries is having a regular log off time.
Mm-hmm.
I It's just me and my husband. I don't have any children, and we move around quite a lot, so my network locally is quite small. I log off at 7, so my workday is a
Mm-hmm.
little bit longer. Get on at 10, log off at 7, and then I'm done. I don't go back on my computer. I do not check my emails. I do not go on social media after 7 p.m. I really reserve that time for me and relaxing. Another thing that I do is my do nothing day, and I love talking about this. It is an entire day from Friday after work all the way to kind of like evening time Saturday, so a full 24 hours where I
Mm-hmm.
do absolutely nothing. I lay around, I nap, I maybe like pull weeds in the yard because I like that. It's very relaxing for me. And sometimes I'll cook because,
Mm-hmm.
again, it's relaxing, it's not a chore. But other than that, I just nap, I restore, I really try to bring that sense of calm back into
Mm-hmm.
my life. Another thing that's important for me on my do nothing day is no coffee. So I try to
Oh.
reset my nervous system as well. And that has been something that I implemented within the last year, and it is a non-negotiable for me.
I love that you know yourself well enough to know too, kind of what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Just to share a little bit of the behind the scenes then of your business as well. When you are working, what are some of the systems or strategies that you're using and relying on to help you do less?
Yeah, so one of the things that I use heavily is Asana for task management. Another thing that I use is Notion for my second brain. And Danielle, are you familiar with the second brain method?
No, no, I'm familiar with Asana because I use Trello, but what's Notion and what's a second brain? Because I probably need like three of those.
Yeah. So Notion is basically like Asana on steroids. I keep my tasks out of Notion though. You could do
Mhm.
task management, but it's essentially where you store all of your rough drafts, all of like I manage my podcast show notes and everything out of Notion. And the more that you use your second brain and do all of your writing and stuff within that brain, the more you create this framework for future work that you're going to do. So if I'm creating an email welcome sequence, for example, I'll map that all out in Notion before I put it into my email software. And
Mhm.
that way, if I ever switch software and lose access to that, it's still in my second brain. And now maybe I have a client in a very similar niche that I need to help. I can just duplicate my entire welcome sequence framework and start working from there instead of trying to work from scratch. And so that is a huge way to it's a little bit slow to start, but over
Mhm.
time, you create this flywheel of systems and processes within the second brain that you can always go and pull from. And the thing that I love about Notion is it's searchable. So I used to do everything in Google Docs,
Yeah.
and
It's
it's complicated.
it is. I
Yeah.
lose things in there all the time. Even when I put in keywords in the search, I know I'll be like, I know I have something with this in here.
Yes. And so all of that is eliminated with Notion. And if you or anyone listening wants to learn more about that, there's a great book by Tiago Forte called Building a Second Brain. And he walks you through his system for organizing it. There's like an inbox, projects, and areas, and an archives. And so that way your second brain supports you. You're not like constantly sitting and organizing your files. And I don't know if like I used to spend a lot of time organizing my desktop files and trying to drag them around. And all of that is eliminated using the second brain method.
Oh, that's awesome. Definitely something to check out too. I love all these resources that you're sharing because I think it's going to be unique to each person. What works for one person doesn't work for another, but at least knowing some of the different options. Because I think even if we don't love what we're using, we stick with it because it's what we know. We do that with habits. We do that with all sorts of things. So definitely check out some of these new technology features and things like that. How many times a week then would you say you're engaging, whether it's through email or social media?
Every weekday. I try to set time aside in the morning to create time to write social posts, to post them, and also engage across platforms. For me, I'm most active on LinkedIn, and so that is the number one priority. I also use this time to write my email list, and then any time that I have left over in that morning block, I use for Instagram, Threads, and other social platforms that I'm trying to be active on.
Awesome. So, in addition to taking your total day of nothing for you, I love to talk about gratitude as a form of self-care because I think that's something that gets easily overlooked, but it's so easy to tap into once we are more conscious of it. And so, I always ask my guests, what are 2 to 3 things that you would say you're the most grateful for?
Yeah, so I love that you bring gratitude into this conversation. It's a great way, a great tool for me as someone who's incredibly goal-oriented to be more present in the moment. And so something that I'm incredibly grateful for is just the peace that I'm feeling in this season of my life. I've worked really hard to create this sense of fulfillment and peace over the last 12 to 18 months. And so that is one thing that I'm incredibly grateful for. The other thing I'm grateful for is my family and my house. I, again, have worked to create a really nice, restful space. And also, I'm grateful for the ability to take a do nothing day and set regular work boundaries. If you're listening and you're in an early stage of your business, that might be something that you're working towards and isn't quite available to you right now. And that's okay. That's how I was when I first started out. But what is important is finding those spaces where you can create just a moment of peace and relaxation for yourself. So that's the third thing I'm grateful for.
Awesome. Now, just curiously, have you been in your current location for a little bit?
Yes, we've been here 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
We are planning to move in a year and a half. So
Okay.
we're in this transition period, but that's where that gratitude element comes in. Instead of, oh, we have a move coming up and just trying to like rush through that like I would have previously, I'm able to feel peace that we're moving, but also gratitude for where we are now.
That's awesome. So, where can people find your book, Angela? How can they work with you?
Yeah, so you can actually get a free copy, a digital copy of my book at yourbrand.evolved.com/free book. And you can say that you found me on the Bestie Life podcast. And if you'd like a physical copy of the book, I'll send it to you for free. You just need to pay
My
shipping.
gosh. Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing, Angela. Thank you. I will definitely have those links in the show notes. You're also then on LinkedIn, Instagram.
Yes, I'm most active on LinkedIn, Angela B. Frank, when you type in the LinkedIn URL. And you can find me on Instagram and Threads at Angela Frank Official.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom, all those tips, those great resources. If you need to, double back and listen to this again with your notebook. Like I said, I was taking notes during this. So thank you again, Angela. This was amazing.
Of course, Daniela, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger, as well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much and talk to you soon. Bye.